Modern Hollywood and modern audiences are filled to the brim with woke activists, people who don't really care about anything with political pandering, and in general, people with the lowest IQs possible. But this move is going to surprise everyone because no one understands what's happening right now or why it's happening because we all know that this is impossible. But it's big news, so we're gonna laugh at it. Studios are assembling superfan focus groups to assess various materials for a franchise project to avoid social media backlash. That's right. We, the toxic fans that are being ignored, we, the true fans of things like Tolkien, Star Wars, and so on, who don't want to see our favorite franchises burn in hellfire, we are seemingly finally appreciated because turns out our backlash matters. And you know why our backlash matters? Because we are the majority. Okay? Yeah, the people who actively complain about these things are technically the minority, but the majority of people don't like the modernization of these franchises, the woke stuff, the DEIs, the GEDs, and all of the other stupid buzzwords that no one ever wants. They will tell us if you do that, fans are going to retaliate. If it's early enough and the movie isn't finished yet, we can make those kind of changes. So this is extremely interesting, and this is a source of everyone's favorite place, Variety, which is probably the most untrusted source ever, but that's fine for this situation. So effectively, what they are saying is they're gonna get groups of people that they unironically probably will label as racist, incels, misogynists, sexists, Nazis, and whatnot, to review movies and shows to say to explain to them that wait a minute, people are not going to be okay with woke bullshit. Which sounds kind of good, but let's be completely real. This obviously is never going to happen. And the Variety article for this is extremely extensive. Toxic fandoms, how Hollywood is battling fans who are just out for blood, from social media campaigns to superfan focus groups. This is the most insane article ever, and I read it, and I'm not gonna subjugate you to it, but this is pretty insane. Effectively, these people somehow, and just by this picture alone, are capable to distinguish the parts that we absolutely hate, don't like because they're woke, because they're virtue signaling garbage, political pandering. They are able to recognize these things, but they are incapable of understanding why this is bad. The Black Elves of Lord of the Rings of Power. I don't want to call it Lord of the Rings. It's just the Rings of Power. It's its own thing, and it's not canon, by the way. Mrs. Marvel, my wife, don't talk about her. House of the Dragon, which was overall a great show, but if there's one thing that everyone hated, it was this character. Oh my god, the White Snake. Every time she was on screen, I just wanted to stop watching. It was such a badly, poorly designed, made character who got, well, everything granted to them without any effort. The Acolyte, no idea what the hell this is actually supposed to be. And from The Boys, the girl who made the plastic surgery, and then she got hate because she, effectively just called everyone stupid and said, no, it's just your imagination. I did not get a plastic surgery. You're an idiot if you think I did, because I clearly did not. Yeah, try to insult the intelligence of your fan base. See how well that ends up. And man, there are a lot of things that they are blaming. There are a lot of examples that they are bringing up. The Acolyte toxic fans that hate people of color. That, yeah, maybe you know what the Acolyte fans hate more. It's the destroyed Star Wars story. There's so many things that they are trying to say. The Last of Us, the gay couple episode, which I think was episode 3 or 2, which is unironically the worst of the episode of the Last of Us TV series. Now, I in general thought the TV series is complete ass, but that episode was completely trash because that episode promotes suicide. Yeah, that episode is literally designed from the ground up to promote self-deletion. That is fucking horrible. And it also has absolutely no place in the story because they just decided, yeah, we want to tell a gay story. And they're surprised why people were not happy with this, which is absolute insanity. Lord of the Rings, Ring of Power, people are claiming, oh, they hate women and people of color. No, that's not true. It's the fact you're doing the Tolkien's work. They may bring up all of these points that we bring up. They are capable of understanding that we don't like it, but they don't understand why they don't like it. And the most telling thing of how absolutely out of touch these people are is probably the comments section. Because this is probably never happening. They're never really gonna pick groups of people to represent, because otherwise it's effectively gonna kind of be this by their own standards, which is unacceptable by their own standards. So this thing is most likely gonna be if they even do it, it's gonna be a focus group of people who probably think exactly like the people making the show, so nothing is gonna change. So this is not a win for us. This is effectively nothing really changes. But if you want a complete travesty, you don't need to step further away than just the comment section. And I have a couple of the greatest comments to highlight for you, because this just completely exemplifies how out of touch and the insane, blatantly insane these people are. So this is one of the most viewed comments. This is one of the worst ideas they can have. People were screaming at the Acolyte before it came out because they were made it because they were mad it had women and people of color, calling it woke. No studio should bow down to to people who have completely invalid criticisms of media. How is this an invalid criticism of media, by the way? And I love the air quotes on the idea of woke, because woke lunatics, turns out from these comments, as much as I am reading, don't actually think that woke is real. They're literally like the Act Man. They think that woke doesn't exist. Also, some of these people are literally gonna try and argue that a DEI doesn't exist, which is hilarious. And when someone just points out, hey, look at that, here's a DEI department, and one of those things that you said doesn't exist, they're just gonna say, shut up, incel, or something like that, which is very pathetic, but extremely on brand for these absolute mentally deranged losers. So, first of all, people were not mad about the Acolyte because it had women in it and people of color. They were mad because because the show is literally 95% women, and then one black guy who is used as the punching bag because there's no other men around. So, well, by exclusion, the black guy needs to be the punching bag, idiot, misogynist, creep, and whatever, and so he becomes it, which is pretty hilarious, I'm not gonna lie. Woke always eats itself at the end of the day. It's just hilarious. Just saying that people will not try to suspect the Acolyte for being bad before it's released because of the materials of the promotional materials that we see is insane. Okay, but that's exactly what you expect. And here someone answers: the playing board acting and constant retconning certainly aberrant factors. What a great take. Definitely were. People are free to criticize the show after watching it if they don't like it. Doesn't sound to me like you're allowing it to be criticized, because as in these people's opinions, as long as there's diversity, wokeness, political pandering in the show is great. It's a 10 out of 10. There's nothing wrong with it. I'm referring to before it came out, when all people knew about it. It was that it had women and people of color in it. Well, we actually knew a lot more about the show, just that it had women and people of color in it. By the way, the same exact argument is used for the Rings of Power, which is fucking hilarious, and it's the same level of stupidity. Criticism, and this is the cherry on the top, in my opinion. Criticizing something for having women and people of color is the definition of racism and sexism, and this is complete insanity, as probably you can obviously tell, because he's effectively saying, oh, if it has people of color and women in it, it cannot be criticized because that cannot be bad, which is the most insane, which is completely insane. And by the way, if you're wondering about this person, a movie, TV journalist, and interviewer, member a Rotten Tomato award-winning filmmaker. Him. These are the critics, boys. And if you're thinking, my God, does Sim not have a chin? Yes, you are right. He doesn't have a chin. Surprise, surprise. Another liberal man who is exuding zero traits of manliness. How is this happening? How is it that typically the weakest, lowest looking men that don't even resemble men, don't act like men, are liberal? Well, you got me. Must be a coincidence or something like that. And it continues a little bit more. It is insane. No. People were not mad. It had women and people of color, and they were mad because everything else was sacrificed, which is very accurate, so that it could have women and people of color in it. Yeah, the Black Dwarf, 10 out of 10. Not gonna lie, decent. You can have diversity and a good story at the same time. Not saying the Acolyte is an example, but of course it's possible. People were criticizing it before they even knew the quality of the story before it came out. Hey, when you see telltale signs of destruction of this woke magnitude, you know that it's gonna be bad no matter what, probably. 99 out of 100 times you're gonna be right. Always judge a book by its cover, because this is the age that we live in. If previously it was don't judge a book by its cover, nowadays you're a fucking idiot if you don't judge a book by its cover. And then we have probably my favorite and lowest thing ever here, and it's this. It's very simple. By the way, this is the good tweet. Make good film instead of propaganda designed by DEI committees. Trust your fans instead of modern audiences. This seems like a very reasonable take, but obviously for the woke crowd, it's very simple. You're an incel, and no one should listen to you, especially film studios worth billions of dollars. That's it. By the way, this is a huge amount of conversation that these people have. This is pretty much probably this guy, who's clearly an idiot. He's probably the most he's probably the person who makes the most sense here, because everyone else is just calling people either misogynists, incels, racists, Nazis. You know, you pick one. You know what I'm talking about. Yeah. Let's see. False. DEI makes everything better. And yeah, this is seemingly an actual DEI consultant. Maybe I'm not 100% sure, but you know, maybe. False. DEI makes everything better, sure, and then points out Concord's 40 million destruction of toxic positivity. This is this is the very definition of the committee. They're trying to be more inclusive of fans. Exactly. You are a fucking loser. There's no such thing as DEI. Again, these people en masse are actually refusing to believe that something like DEI even exists. They don't think woke is real. They don't think that DEI is real. And yet, if you read the full article here, they are exactly, some magically fucking how, able with pinpoint accuracy to tell us what we didn't like with House of the Dragon, what we didn't like with The Last of Us, what we didn't like with, well, pretty much honestly, every show that has come out in the past year. Except no one's talking about Fallout New Vegas, not Fallout New Vegas, but the Fallout TV show that's going to destroy New Vegas, and that's because no one dislikes Lucy. Lucy is one of the best, if not best, characters in the series. No one's talking about that because Lucy is, again, a woman and she's the highlight of this. Which is hilarious. Anyway, you're a fucking loser. There's no such thing as DEI. And then you see him posting, Bloomberg literally admitting the DEI is real, and the reply is, no one cares about your curl culture, well, bullshit. Go cry about being replaced by brown people and immigrants, fucking dweebs. All you losers can do is bitch online and blame someone else for your inadequacies. What a fucking sentence. Yet here you are. This made no sense. Of course it didn't for this person. And it's insane. These people it's just, this is the modern audience. It's just a bunch of insane people. Absolutely just a bunch of insane people who somehow have infected Hollywood, the education system, and so many other facets of life. Wow. And don't read this Variety article, it's completely garbage, as is Variety itself. So, that's pretty much it. Anyway, this was Quizzer Sid said, thanks for watching, bye!